Yesterday I received the backer edition of Shenmue 3, picked up the steelbook and everything this morning. I had a little bit of time to play the game, not a whole lot, but enough to where I wanted to give just my initial impressions, what I think so far, just being a few hours into it. Last night I think I played for about 2 hours or so before I went to bed. I was restless, I couldn't sleep well. I got up at like 3 in the morning and played a few more hours before leaving for work in the morning, so I played about 4.5-ish hours, maybe 5 at most. And at this point, I'm blown away. I had very high expectations and a lot of faith that it would meet those expectations just from what we were seeing over the course of its development, all the way from 2015. The things that I was seeing appealed to me, and I thought really met what I wanted from this game, because I think depending who you are, you're going to be expecting and wanting different things from this game. And for me, I wanted something that looked and felt truly like Shenmue 3. Like it was an easy transition. If you had just played Shenmue 1 and 2 and then you put in Shenmue 3, it wasn't jarring. It felt smooth and felt like that was how it should be. And the best way I can describe the game from my experience so far, in the simplest terms, it feels like a very high quality remaster of a Dreamcast game. That's the way that I would phrase it. That it feels like Shenmue 3 actually happened and came out, say, like 2003, 2004, or whatever, on the Dreamcast, and then they made a fantastic remaster, even more effort put into it, like the amount of effort, the quality of, say, like the Crash Trilogy and the Crash Team Racing, like those remasters on PS4 and Switch. That's what it feels like. It feels that much of a natural transition so far from 1, 2, and 3, and especially because over the last year I replayed Shenmue 1 and 2 again. I played the 1 and 2 HD on PS4, and then moving right from those on PS4, having those fresh in my memory, and moving right into this, it felt even more natural than from the Dreamcast and the Xbox versions that I was used to for years. And just so it feels like it belongs. It feels like you can just go Shenmue 1 and 2 HD right to Shenmue 3, and it just feels a perfect transition. And it all flows together so nicely. Just from the opening, it really digs right into the ending of Shenmue 2 and just smoothly transitions right into the beginning of Shenmue 3, and you just go from there. I am loving everything in it, every little bit of the activities. I am enjoying the changes to gameplay. That those are the only things that I was really kind of like, maybe it'll be a little too different, maybe it won't work too well. The controls, like everything feels so much like Shenmue 1 and 2 on the PS4 that it just feels so good. And I like all the things that are different. There's so much that feels exactly the same. The cadence of a lot of the dialogue, the way it's presented, the pacing of the story, the type of things that you're doing, everything feels just genuinely Shenmue 1 and 2. It feels just its identity. You can feel its identity, you can feel its uniqueness, even just in those few hours of gameplay. This is a Shenmue game. There's no mistaking it as anything else. But those little things that are slightly different that changed, I love, and I think they work perfectly and smoothly. I love that Ryu has to eat now. It works well, and it's not like you're scrambling for food and it's a problem all the time. It's just something extra that makes sense and is enjoyable, and I think adds to the gameplay. And I like how his abilities grow in a slightly different manner than in 1 and 2, and the way you train. I've been really enjoying doing all the different training mini games so far, the 1-inch punch and the horse stance and sparring and battling through the ranks of the monks and things like that, and just exploring the environments. Been loving the way all the characters come together. It already has, so far in this first part, kind of like a familiar homey feel, kind of like Shenmue 1, and then I feel like eventually, you go to the city and it's going to have more of a Shenmue 2 vibe. I think it's going to really capture that from what I'm getting at this point. And I'm just loving all of it. Even, chopping wood for some extra money is so much more entertaining than you would think. There's so many things in Shenmue, I've said it so many times, that when you just mention it, it sounds boring. Like I was driving a forklift, I was moving boxes, I was running a stand for somebody, for a game of chance. I was chopping wood now in Shenmue 3. I was joking with Amanda. I waited almost 2 decades to chop wood finally. But it's a funny thing where when you actually go through it and do it, there's so much enjoyment, and it's so great, and it feels almost like the wood chopping feels like a rhythm game. There's just so much that's great about it. Everything just feels fantastic, and I think it's kind of where I want to leave it for now before playing more of the game, getting to the end, and eventually doing an actual review. I really just wanted to say that my impressions so far are that it looks, sounds, feels truly like Shenmue 3, and anything that is just a slight deviation from what Shenmue 1 and 2 were as far as how some of the gameplay works and the new elements, I love. I really, really like them, even more than I was expecting, and yeah, it is a gorgeous game to look at, it is a fun game to play, and from every second of this time that I spent so far, I've been overwhelmed with joy because it has met 2 decades of expectations, and that is a huge deal. That's a hard thing to accomplish, but it does it, and it's a game that looks and feels modern, but at the same time doesn't go for a look that's too out there and too hyper realistic and pulls itself away and doesn't look like Shenmue 1 and 2. Like I said, it feels like it belongs. It feels like the true Shenmue 3 is here, and I'm excited to play more of it. That's what I'm going to be doing whenever I get a chance this week, and play the heck out of it this weekend. Yeah, I'm going to take my time with it. Like, I'm not rushing through anything. I'm going to be exploring every nook and cranny and spending insane amounts of time doing every little minigame activity that I can find, and just enjoying every second of it and absorbing it, and staying away from this point on from Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and like anything related to Shenmue. I just want to like keep it here, keep it personal, and just finally enjoy this long-awaited experience, and then I'm going to put it out there, like what I think of it at the end, and see what other people think of it then. I'm going to avoid it for now. So until then, this is my first impressions of Shenmue 3, and unboxing videos of all the different versions of it that I have, and yeah, I will see you again in another Shenmue video once I complete this journey.